Funding for this edition of State of Affairs with Steve Adubato has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey. Here when you need us most. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. MD Advantage Insurance Company. The Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. The Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare. The Russell Berry Foundation, making a difference. The Adler Aphasia Center. Summit Health, a provider of primary, specialty, and urgent care. And by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, working for a healthier, more equitable New Jersey. Promotional support provided by AM 970 The Answer. And by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Adubato. We kick off the program with a real community leader making a difference. Khaatim Sherrer is the executive director of Clinton Hill Community Action. Khaatim, I want to make sure, did I say your last name
correctly?
Perfect.
I
want to make sure. And the other thing is, as the website comes up for Clinton Hill Community Action, make sure everyone knows what it is and how you help people in the community every day.
So Clinton Hill Community Action is a nonprofit community development organization based right here in the city of Newark in the mighty South Ward. We got started right before the pandemic in 2019. And so our work has just catapulted in really exciting ways. We've responded to the need that was in the community that COVID brought to our front door. And when that need was there, on the other side of it were residents who were rolling up their sleeves, ready to help and be a part of supporting each other at such a critical time. And that opened the door for so many things for us, whether that's our housing work, our work around food security, and just generally building community in the Clinton Hill neighborhood.
Khaatim, let's talk about this. As someone who's born and raised in Newark and who cares deeply about the city, my family's still there. What strikes me is there's so much talk about development. You know, they're building new apartments here, new office buildings there. There's great activity going on downtown. That's beautiful. But at the same time, and I don't know whether you call it gentrification or not, doesn't matter what you call it, rents are going up. The cost of housing is going up because of that. That's a good thing on one level, but that's not good news for longtime Newarkers who simply can't afford it.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line truth. I mean, the exciting thing is to see all the progress and the renaissance that's happening in the city. But every day, Newarkers like myself, born and raised in a city, you ask yourself, is this for me? And what I say to folks in this community is that we'll make it for us. And the way that we'll do that is by getting in the game, by making sure that we're connected to the resources that helps families increase their incomes and access to resources to make themselves whole, that we have advocates on the ground like our organizations who are fighting for more affordable housing. As a matter of fact, we're partnering with Community Assets Preservation Corporation to build affordable housing right here in Clinton Hill. We've got a number of developers who are excited about the momentum that they see happening here, and they too are investing. Steve, I know you know Adina Bayo, and restaurateur and developer here in Newark. She went to school right here in the South Ward at Weekway, and she's decided to plant seed in this community, and she's got an apartment complex going up that's going to be all low-income housing. And so this question of gentrification is real. But really what folks in my neighborhood are asking is, will we be displaced while all this progress is happening? And what we're saying to them is, we're going to build in permanent structural affordability in this community so that you can stay here while your income increases so that you can one day become a homeowner too.
You know, it's interesting. What strikes me is that, as you just said, you're born and raised in the city, connected to the city, care deeply. Your passion for this work at Clinton Hill Community Action comes from where?
Steve, that's I have to give credit to my parents. It was my father who really sort of lit the first bug in me to wonder and care about the world around me. I'm the kid who grew up on South 11th Street in the West Ward, who had to get up in the morning on a big snow day, not only shovel out my dad's car, but he made sure I shoveled out the space in front of us and behind us. And I'm like, Dad, why are we doing this? He said, well, son, other people need spaces too. And so if we shovel out more, the likelihood of us having a place when we come back home is going to be greater. And whether it was my mom who every day would come up to the school and want to talk to my teachers about what was happening in my classroom, it was that care and concern for others that was instilled in me early on. And I've just continued on that path thanks to what they planted in me.
I know it wasn't an accident. Just listening to you. Let me ask you, talk about the food insecurity issue. Again, we'll put up the website for Clinton Hill Community Action, and also let our folks know that together with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, we're involved in public awareness around food insecurity issues. Talk about the seriousness of the problem, Khaatim, but also how difficult it is for some people, most, to actually acknowledge that there's a problem and, dare I say, ask for help, please.
We've got the world's largest economy right here in the United States. And to imagine in this modern age that there are people who go to bed hungry, it just blows my mind. We didn't start Clinton Hill Community Action thinking about food security. That wasn't on our radar. But because we follow the cues of our residents and helping us understand what the challenges are in the community, and then we work together on those solutions, we're deep into this work, because the pandemic set so many families behind that are still trying to dig themselves out of the hole. Our network of neighborhood pantries, led by a lot of our faith-based partners, they were shocked by seeing so many new faces come to their pantry lines that they had never seen before. These are not folks who don't have jobs, right? These are the working poor who need help to make ends meet. And so our work has really blossomed. I mean, we've supported that network of pantries, helping them build capacity, get PPE during the height of the pandemic, extra food donations from partners like the Community Food Bank, Ben, Grow a Row, and others. And we've recently partnered with Greater Newark Conservancy to start our first farmers market. I wish you could have been there this season, Steve. Every month, we had over 125 residents come into the Clinton Hill community, get access to fresh fruits and vegetables from local growers and farmers. We had vendors there. It's been an exciting adventure. And lastly, I'd say we're really excited to say that we've gotten support from the city of Newark as a part of their Nourishing Newark strategy to address food security, to open one of the city's first resident-run food co-ops right here in Clinton Hill.
Tell everyone what a food co-op is.
So a food co-op is a grocery store. But the difference between a grocery store that's for-profit and a food co-op is we set prices that are at the affordability level of the residents in our community. We have culturally appropriate foods, and the power of a food co-op is the ownership, because it is owned by the people. And those same residents run it. They are able to make decisions on a fast dime that are more responsive to the community's needs. And so for us, this is a part of our food sovereignty, taking back ownership of how we ensure our neighbors have access to put food on the table.
You know, in the time we have left, what strikes me is that, again, your passion, your commitment, your enthusiasm as the website for Clinton Hill goes up again. But I do want to ask you this, as we move into 2023, this program will be seen then as well. How optimistic are you that we don't talk about fixing problems, but making major impact, having a major impact, making major improvements as it relates to housing, affordable housing, and food insecurity issues? How optimistic are you and why?
Yeah. Steve, I have to say, having done this work for a number of years, and every day I get to wake up and have a short commute because I live right in this community. Our 20 staff members who help to run this organization every day live right here in this community. And what gives me hope is just that, how people are coming to the table, rolling up their sleeves to be a part of the solution. And we're not going to sort of solve these issues individually. No one organization has the answer by themselves, but the power of partnership is being realized right here in the South Ward. Whether you count our partners at Newark Beth Israel Hospital, who helped to seed our food security work with our first donation of fresh fruits and vegetables and their ongoing support of that work, or some of the local contractors who are out there helping us do senior home repairs for the residents in our community, our
Right.
local youth build programs who are part of that. I can go on, but again, the thing that gets me so excited and gives me hope is that we're all at the table working together, tunneling at these issues to make real progress for meaningful folks.
Khaatim, as a student of leadership, I know a leader, excuse me, when I see that leader. You are that leader. You honor us. We thank you for joining us, and keep fighting the good fight on behalf of the residents of the great city of Newark. Thank you, Khaatim.
Thank you, Steve, you and your family for your service.
You got it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Do you know someone who's done something extraordinary for others, whether a community service or an act of heroism? That person may be a candidate for the Raspberry Award for making a difference. Help us pay it forward by honoring New Jersey's unsung heroes in their efforts to make a difference in the lives of others.
Hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey face hunger.
Now, more than ever.
Together with our 800-plus agency partners,
Now, more than ever.
the Community Food Bank of New Jersey is fighting hunger.
Now, more than ever.
You can help our hungry neighbors by going to cfbnj.org. Join us.
Folks, let me introduce Debra Lancaster, Executive Director of the Center for Women and Work at Rutgers University. Good to see you, Debra.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having us.
You got to let everyone know what the center is and the importance of its work.
The Center for Women and Work, based at Rutgers in New Brunswick, has been around for about 30 years. I think it's our 30th anniversary next year. And throughout its history, we've been focused on supporting, achieving women's economic equity in the workplace and in their communities. And so we do that through research, programming, and education.
It is the Center for Women and Work at Rutgers. The website will be up right now. Let me ask you this: paid family leave. What is it? Why is it so significant? And as we put up the website for the government agency, it's one thing to put up the website for the Center for Women and Work at Rutgers, but there's also a government agency. I'm not sure which department it is, but you actually need to know which agency is doing what. And that's why we'll put that website up. For paid family leave, what is it, Debra? Why is it so important? Because not enough people are accessing it.
That's right. So I'll give a really brief history, but in 2009, New Jersey became only the second state in the nation to pass paid family leave. Now, a number of other states have followed, but New Jersey has a paid family leave program, and most workers are eligible to take advantage of it. You can take up to 12 weeks of paid leave to bond with a newborn or a new child in your home, to care for a loved one who's ill, or to cope with domestic violence or sexual violence. And the paid leave could be taken 12 weeks at a time, so consecutively, or over 56 days. That's known as intermittent leave. And workers are eligible for up to 85% of their wages while they're on leave. And that's capped at, in 2022, $993 per week. And the Department of Labor, New Jersey Department of Labor, is the agency that is charged with implementing the policy in New Jersey.
A couple of things. Number one, we will have the Secretary of Labor, the Commissioner. Secretary is the name on the federal level. We'll have the Secretary of Labor and the state of New Jersey on soon to talk about this. But I also want to follow up. I remember when the law was passed, and there was great fanfare around that. Deborah, but it's one thing to have a law passed. It's quite another to have it implemented, and it's quite another to have people ask, well, why is public awareness important? Well, we put the website up again is because you can pass a law, but if people don't know about it, access it, and utilize it, it's not really that useful. This is huge. New Jersey's leading the nation in this regard, is it not?
It is in terms of policy, but I think what we have here is a policy that is ahead of where we are as a culture. So,
what do you mean?
So I think that, paid family leave is an excellent policy to advance gender equity, racial equity, and allow families who don't have access to paid family leave through their employers, which is at least 80% of our workforce, to have access to paid time off so they can care for their loved ones during a time of need. So what I mean by where we're at culturally, most workers need time off to care for a loved one at some point. I mean, almost everyone does. And so the policy we have in New Jersey really can go a long way in supporting workers and being able to do that. I think one of the challenges is that culturally, we're just not there. So, one is, and you reference this, implementation of the policy or any policy, quite frankly, is complex. So I don't want to minimize how hard it is to pass policies like this in states, or certainly, and we still haven't done this at a federal level. So it's a real challenge.
Well, hold on, time out. Deborah, why not? Why not on the federal level? And dare I ponder the question as to whether partisan politics would have anything to do with paid family leave. We're taping this literally a week after the midterm elections. The House looks like run by Republicans, the Senate by Democrats. There's a Democratic president. Would that have anything to do with why paid family leave is not a federal reality and it's state by state?
I mean, I think part of the reason paid family leave isn't a federal reality or a reality in a lot of other states is that, we don't value caregiving in our country. So I think that that's the bottom line. We don't value the people who are paid to do caregiving, and we don't think of employees or workers as caregivers. We think of them as workers. And I think we're still in a culture that largely sees workers as individuals and not as people that are also leading families. And
even post-COVID, sorry for interrupting, Deborah, even, I shouldn't say post-COVID, given the reality of COVID, you believe that we haven't caught up with the fact that all of us are just trying to manage it at work and at home, and the barrier, the wall is not that clear between the two. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think that post-COVID, I think that, obviously we're still managing COVID, the flu and everything else, but I think this just highlights, I think that we have a lot more conversations about caregiving and the need for paid time off, sick leave, and kind of providing some support for workers. And look, we had some temporary policies in place at a national level and a state level, proves that there's research evidence that supports these policies, that they're good for employers, they're good for workers, they're good for families' economic stability.
That's right.
Paid family leave, is one of a rare policy that is truly supported by a fairly significant body of research evidence. Right. Because of course we have a lot of research evidence, not just from the states that have passed paid family leave in our country, but also around the world. We are the only wealthy nation that doesn't have a national policy on paid family leave. So we're truly behind in this arena, and our policy is not aligned with the research evidence. So I'm cautiously optimistic that this is an area where partisan politics, this issue cuts across the aisle. So I'm hoping that we'll still get a national policy at some point in the future.
And I assure everyone watching that every member of Congress who appears on our programming will be asked that question. The two members who happen to be Republicans in the House delegation every Democrat and our 2 United States senators will stay on this issue. Debra Lancaster from the Center for Women in Work at Rutgers University, I want to thank you for joining us. Well done.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Do you know someone who's done something extraordinary for others, whether a community service or an act of heroism? That person may be a candidate for the Raspberry Award for making a difference. Help us pay it forward by honoring New Jersey's unsung heroes in their efforts to make a difference in the lives of others.
Hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey face hunger.
Now, more than ever.
Together with our 800-plus agency partners,
Now, more than ever.
the Community Food Bank of New Jersey is fighting hunger.
Now, more than ever.
You can help our hungry neighbors by going to cfbnj.org. Join us.
We're now joined by Aly Maier Lokuta, who is Senior Director of Arts and Wellbeing at NJPAC, New Jersey Performing Arts Center. Good to see you, Aly.
Thank you for having me.
Aly, is it not a fact that you told our producer, Georgette, that, quote, the arts are good for our health? And if so, what exactly does that mean?
That is a fact. I think anecdotally, kind of instinctually, we can all think about a time where engaging with the arts made us feel good, whether that's going to see a play or a concert, going to a museum, or even singing in the shower. But now there's research and evidence that points to physical and mental health benefits of the arts. For example, going to a museum or concert just once or twice a month can lower depression in adults by 48%.
Along those lines, I'm curious about this because COVID, we're doing this program in late 2022, be seen a little bit later. The level of isolation that people have experienced is just extraordinary. And the arts were delivered in all kinds of ways, virtual, hybrid, all kinds of ways. Connect the issue of the arts with isolation and loneliness for people, please.
Well, the arts are a great solve to loneliness. The arts offer pathways to connection, communication. They bring us together and help us understand what each other are going through and what we're feeling. They can help us process grief. The arts have been used immensely with healthcare workers, for example, over the past 2 years to help them with burnout, stress, and grief processing. And they can be helpful in our communities too, in social justice issues to bring.
How so?
Bringing people together to have tough conversations using the arts as a pathway to understanding. When folks engage using the arts, it's often through messaging that's culturally relevant and responsive, helping us understand one another's perspectives.
Along those lines, to Aly and her team, along with John Schreiber, the leader at NJPAC, there have been so many conversations around tough issues. There was a series just a few years back around police relations in the minority community. Tough, important, substantive. Forget about timely, because unfortunately it's always timely. That's what you're talking about, isn't it? And people say, well, that's not the arts. It is. And some people don't think this is the arts. It is. Go ahead, Aly.
It is. It's the arts, and it's arts in health, which is a broader field that this work is a part of, whether that's social justice, health communication, arts in healthcare, or arts in our communities. It's part of a broader conversation and a field of study now that points to the evidence of its benefits.
Talk about our kids, arts education, and the wellness issues that you're talking about, particularly for young people.
Well, it's imperative right now that we get the arts and we have students able to access the arts in schools. We really see arts education as a public health issue. The data now points to engagement in the arts being able to reduce social isolation and loneliness in adolescents and youth, reduce depression. And as we see the facts and figures of the impact of the pandemic on our students, it's more important than ever that we give our students these outlets to connect with one another and to process what they've been going through.
Aly, I want to talk about social prescribing in just a minute, but do this for us because it's the first time you've joined us, and I want to make sure people understand. Where do you come from originally, and how did you get into this field?
Sure. So I'm a visual artist by practice, a photographer in undergrad, and I discovered this field through the University of Florida Center for Arts and Medicine, which has a master's program at this intersection. So I have an MA in arts and medicine, studying the—
1 second, arts and medicine, it's a concentration? It is?
It is, yes. And it's—
And then go ahead, I'm sorry, because I'm curious as to how we get you at NJPAC.
So I moved to New York. I've been back and forth to New York a couple of times, but most recently in 2019, when New York City Health and Hospitals was starting their arts and medicine department, and was the arts program manager and assistant director of that program.
And then we recruited you into NJPAC, right?
Yes, that's correct.
What is the social prescribing program?
So this is a really innovative program that allows doctors, physicians, community health workers to prescribe things outside of their normal clinical services and connect people with their social needs in their community, and in particular, arts and culture. So we're developing a pilot with our partners at RWJ-Barnabas and the Horizon Foundation of New Jersey to enable their providers to prescribe arts to their patients.
And the impact of such a program is?
We'll be looking to measure it. What we know is that this provides pathways to care. It provides folks with an opportunity to engage with creative activities in their communities where they are. If we know that, for example, attending a concert or museum can reduce your risk of depression or reduce your risk of hypertension, then by prescribing people free tickets to those things, we can reduce the incidence of that in the community.
It's so interesting. People, again, I'm not in any way being critical of prescribing medication, but it's not the only way to deal with some of the issues that Aly's talking about. To you, Aly, to our longtime friends and colleagues at New Jersey Performing Arts Center, downtown Newark, check it out. If I'm not mistaken, the recent 25th anniversary of NJPAC, is that correct?
Yes, our 25th anniversary.
I saw the picture of Savion Glover, who was a little kid. Talk about a great dancer, talk about a great artist. He was a little kid there first night, and then he was there for the 25th. Anyway, that's two inside. I want to thank you so much for joining us, Aly. Wish you and the team at NJPAC all the best.
Thank you so much, Steve.
You got it. That's Aly. I'm Steve. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. MD Advantage Insurance Company, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, the Russell Berry Foundation, the Adler Aphasia Center, Summit Health, and by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Promotional support provided by AM 970 The Answer, and by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network. To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Do you know someone who's done something extraordinary for others, whether a community service or an act of heroism? That person may be a candidate for the Raspberry Award for making a difference. Help us pay it forward by honoring New Jersey's unsung heroes in their efforts to make a difference in the lives of others.
Hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey face hunger.
Now, more than ever.
Together with our 800-plus agency partners,
Now, more than ever.
the Community Food Bank of New Jersey is fighting hunger.
Now, more than ever.
You can help our hungry neighbors by going to cfbnj.org. Join us.